Hi, I'm Anna, and this is my husband Dylan. There are two things we love more than anything in this world: our kids and history. For the next 3 years, we will be living in Europe, and instead of traveling and exploring beautiful places, we want to travel and explore the history behind these places. We want our kids to learn the lessons of the past so they may acquire more wisdom to better handle the future. I believe World War II has some of the most important lessons that we can possibly learn today, which is why we visited the Luxembourg American Cemetery Memorial, which is an American cemetery from World War II. At the gates, we're faced with 2 golden eagles and 2 golden wreaths. The wreath is an old Roman symbol for triumph, and the eagle is, of course, a symbol of America. Right off the bat, we come across with this monument that honors the achievements and the sacrifices of the sons of the United States of America. The monument also doubles as a chapel in which there is a beautiful angel carved outside as a symbolism of the resurrection. One of the most emotional moments of our visit was watching the American flag fly high and mighty above these graves, and the gratitude we felt for everything these men have accomplished and the sacrifice they have made for the freedom that that flag represents. Back at the chapel, the angel continues to watch over the soldiers' sleep. It says, "Here is enshrined the memory of valor and sacrifice." One thing that is really cool to know is that in this door, there are engravings of the values of an American soldiers. The first one is fortitude. Then, an American soldier has valor, proficiency, physical fitness, fidelity, sacrifice, family ties. And last, but most important of all, an American soldier has faith. It is fair to say that all the soldiers who here lie have some way or another demonstrated all of these virtues. Here's a picture of the chapel. We were not able to enter due to COVID, but it was a beautiful reminder that there is more to wait for the soldiers beyond their death. The majority of the soldiers buried at this American cemetery are casualties of the Battle of the Bulge. If you're not familiar with the Battle of the Bulge, which is absolutely fascinating to study, I'll probably end up making a video later on as we get to visit Bastogne and Saint Vith in Belgium. Anyways, the Battle of the Bulge was Germany's last chance of changing the tide of war. They were desperate. They knew they needed a drastic offensive to help them because at this point they didn't have much hope. This was it. They had to give it all, and they did. The Ardennes Offensive started on December 16th of 1944. Hitler's plan was to split the Allied forces into 2 so that way he would avoid fighting one cohesive force, and he also wanted to take over the port of Antwerp to deny the Allies use of it. The Germans succeeded on taking the Americans by surprise, but after 6 weeks of heavy fighting, the Americans had taken back all the ground they had lost. Not without suffering many casualties though. The Americans are estimated to have lost about 75,000 soldiers, whereas Germany lost anywhere from 80 to 100,000 soldiers. The Luxembourg American Cemetery is one of many throughout Europe. After the battle, the deceased soldiers had to be buried in order to prevent disease. After the war, the families were given the choice to bring their bodies back to the United States. Many of them chose to leave them to rest with their brothers in arms. This is the tablet of the missing. Here are recorded the names of Americans who gave their lives in the service of their country and who sleep in unknown graves. Buried here is General Patton, probably the best general of the United States Army. He died after the war in consequence of injuries acquired in a suspicious car accident. After his sudden death, his family was given the option of bringing his body back home, but they remained true to his request of being buried alongside his men. At first, he was buried alongside a private, and there was nothing special about his grave, and nothing different than the other 6,000 soldiers buried at the cemetery. Many years later, General Patton's grave was moved to where it stands today, in front of his men, just as he did during his life. When asked about her husband, his wife said, "George has never asked anything of his men that he didn't do it himself." There are 5 members of the famous Easy Company from the 101st Airborne Division buried here. One of them is Alex Pancala, whose story is told in my favorite TV show, Band of Brothers. Pancala was killed in combat in the city of Foy in Belgium alongside his friend Skip Muck as an artillery shell fell on the foxhole they shared. They are both buried nearby each other here at the Luxembourg Cemetery.
I proud to be American, at least I know why free. I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me.
I thought this was very touching. Instead of saying unknown soldier as many other cemeteries, this one emphasizes that he is known and that it's God who knows him.
This was our first video. If you enjoyed it, please give us a big like and a subscribe.
We'll plan on creating a lot more of World War II content, so if you enjoyed that, make sure to stay tuned.
Service? Thank you for your service. Mommy, come over here and see what's his name.
What's his name? Let's see.
Let's see.
His name is Morris S. Chasen.
That's a good name.